Paul Cook presented Richie Ryan with his Goal of the Month trophy for May, and the visitors look most likely to get something out of this game. It goes without saying that John Russell was at the centre of all things good about Rovers. He found Alan Keane. His cross caused difficulty for Ger O'Brien. Owen Doyle grabbed his second in 2 games. Fingal's only real chance of the first half led to an equaliser. Ronan Finn drove hard at the Sligo defence. And Conan Byrne scored more league goals than anybody last season. He grabbed just his second of 2010. Honours even between the sides for the 3rd time this year. In fact, that's 9 league draws each from their previous 19 games.
With a couple of new arrivals in the squad, the Sligo faithful turned up in optimistic mood for this one. Joanne Cantwell reports.
Sean Connor had called for a big improvement from Galway United after they were forced to settle for a disappointing draw against Bray last time out. And despite Card Shepherd's early effort, the manager didn't get what he was looking for. This meeting was all about Sligo Rovers and spectacular scoring. And if anyone in the league knows about spectacular scores, it's Joseph Endo. This little cameo arrived after 25 minutes at the showgrounds, and wasn't it appreciated? Sligo had plenty to savour in this encounter, but they take from it at least one bad memory. Danny Ventry didn't complain too much about this booking, but he might have changed his mind a little later. But there was more good in the meantime. Owen Doyle's cross-come shot had Barry Ryan stretching, before the keeper's teammates a little further up the field got into the action. Kieran Foley picked out Shepherd, who might well have caused more trouble for Richard Brush. Paul Cook wanted better from his side, and what he got was a little magic. 2 minutes before half-time, John Dillon used his trickery to defy the Galway defence, and sublime skill to defy Ryan, who seemed a little astounded the ball had curved its way into the net. That gave the home side a glossy 2-0 lead taken to the break. 5 minutes into the second half, and time for the silliness. Ventry was in the general vicinity of Derek O'Brien when he took a tumble. The referee concluded the Sligo man had been at fault for said tumble and produced yellow number 2 for Ventry. The defender immediately headed for the tunnel, but the Sligo bench didn't take matters quite so well. Cook got a talking to, and assistant manager Jerry Carr was sent to the stands for his overzealous protests. Just 2 in it, 40 minutes still to play. The extra man could have made a big difference to Galway. It didn't, even if they did have their chances. Bobby Ryan probably had the best one. But when it's your night, and 5 minutes after losing a man, Sligo showed it was still their night. Endo with some more silky skills. And a decent cross too. Porg Ammon sent the home crowd wild. Galway then produced a classy move of their own, with Rhys Maynell equalling anything their opponents had shown in the night. Shepherd just couldn't provide the finishing touches. Even in the downpour, they were happy. No improvements for Sean Connor's Galway against his former side, but an impressive night and a 3-0 win for Paul Cook's Sligo Rovers.
We're 2-0 up. You know, we felt if we got a third, we'd go on and win it comfortably. You know, at 2-0 then, there's always a chance Galway against 10 men could get back in the game. So it was pleasing that the decision didn't affect the result. You know, but it was a poor decision in my opinion.
I think we made them work for their win, but just always disappointed when you lose, and particularly disappointed when you come back to your old club, because you always want to try and do well, you know, and it gives certain people an opportunity to give you abuse, but hey, that's part of the game, isn't it?
The ever-lively Porg Ammon opened the scoring for the Bitter Red just before the half-hour mark. John Dillon and Owen Doyle involved in the build-up before Ammon provided that finish past Ger Barron, who's really in a hot run of form at the moment, Porg Ammon. But just 2 minutes from time, UCD thought they'd rescued a point when Kieran Kilduff's shot was deflected to the net past Richard Brush. Kilduff, another man who knows all about finding the net. Not much Brush could do about that one. That was 1-1 with a couple of minutes to go, but there was still time for more excitement. Into injury time, Ammon got on the end of Joey Endo's free kick to guide the ball to the net, give the home side 3 points. Ammon's 13th league goal of the season things heading very much in the right direction for Sligo Rovers. And though it was a return to a former hunting ground, Bohemians hoping for a win to maintain the pressure on St Pat's and Shamrock Rovers. Darren Frehel reports.
The first real chance fell to Bohemians. Conor Powell's testing cross was almost turned into his own net by Gavin Pearce. Richard Brush saving his blushes. Sligo looked really good going forward, and Alan Keane's half volley almost gave them the lead. Barry Murphy, though, denied them with an outstanding save. The visitors were on top and they continued to create the chances. Nice footwork and cross here by Joey and Doe, but Pádraig Amond should have done better with the header. But for all that, it was Bowes who took the lead. Mark Quigley gave his mark of the eye here before passing it out to Paddy Madden. His cross found the unmarked Paul Keegan, who stabbed home a rare goal. The Sligo defence wasn't covering itself in glory, and a moment of madness almost presented the home side with another goal. Rafa Guittaro denied by Brush. Bohemians came flying out of the traps in the second half and should have got the second when Quigley picked out Guittaro. The former Sligo man blazed over with the goal at his mercy. But the second did arrive on the hour mark. Higgins' free caught Richard Brush in no man's land, and Ken O'Mann was on hand to head into an unguarded net. 2-0. Sligo, though, did have chances. Richie Ryan's shot was well saved by Murphy. Ryan's ball moments later presented Amond with this opportunity, but he didn't trouble the Bows goalkeeper. Paul Cook didn't look too impressed. Amond, though, looked lively, and Murphy couldn't hold his next attempt, but no one was on hand to take advantage. It finished 2-0 to Bohemians. They continue their good run ahead of tomorrow's visit to Wales in the Champions League.
Yeah, it was a good performance tonight. Played well from start to finish. I thought Sligo played well in the first half as well. I thought the second half we bossed it, but we knew we were in for a hard game. They're a decent team, pass the ball well and get a lot of people on it, you know, good movement about them. So, big 3 point for us.
Oh, you're always disappointed to lose any game. It doesn't sit well with any of us. Do you know what, we come here, all you do, you play for 3 points. Do you know, we wish Bowes well and we move on to our next game.
Good win. We're hoping to build on their win over Fingal, and Sligo went into the match on a good run despite a recent reverse against Bowes. Eamon Donoghue has this report.
Another Goal of the Month award for the Sligo Rovers player. This time it was John Dillon receiving his award from Paul Cook. It took Drogheda less than a quarter of an hour to give home supporters something to cheer about, and Glenn Fitzpatrick pounced for his second league goal since returning to the club. The only thing better than a thumbs up from your manager is 2 thumbs up, and Drogheda were rolling, though their joy lasted just 2 minutes. Joseph Indo's delivery, Alan McNally no match for Gavin Pearce's physicality, and Pearce made it 1-1. The last meeting between the sides saw Drogheda hit rock bottom following a 6-0 hammering. Sligo looked hungry for goals, and Alan Keane's cross found Owen Doyle. He couldn't add to his tally of 5 in the league this season. The home side had a let-off approaching the half-hour mark. Pádraig Amond and Doyle were both involved in setting up a chance for John Russell. He was inches away from giving his side the lead. Doyle fared no better on the rebound. United's last home game was a 1-0 win over UCD, and at times they struggled to match that particular performance. Michael Daly knew he should have done better when he met Joe Kendrick's cross. That seemed to briefly give Drogheda something of a foothold in the game. And Paul Crowley's shot was deflected into the path of Sligo goalkeeper Richard Brush, who set up a swift counter-attack. Gary McCabe's neat first touch found Owen Doyle. Amond, the country's top scorer, was a man with something to prove after being omitted from Damien Richardson's Electricity League select, and he showed no shortage of desire as he eventually bundled home. A half-time substitution by United boss Darius Kieran's took just 6 minutes to bear fruit. Alan McNally's cross headed home by new boy Ronan McIntaggart for his first ever senior goal. McIntaggart was part of the Drogheda squad that won the FAI Under-17 Cup in 2008. Stung by that, Sligo looked for a quick response. Owen Doyle caught hold of one from distance, but Paul Skinner was equal to it. While at the other end, Brian Brennan looked to catch Brush unawares. but to no avail as the keeper claimed confidently. Paul Cook sensed there was something for his side in this one and sprung John Dillon for Owen Doyle. Though defensive qualities were required by the visitors in the short term, as United looked for a winner, but Brush was alert and brave to deny John Flood. Paul Cook made further changes with Conor O'Grady coming in for Russell, and the veteran midfielder saw his header fly over. With 7 minutes remaining, Sligo won it. Left back Irla Davern started life as a winger come striker, and he raided forward and found Amond, whose shot appeared to be crossing the line. John Dillon on hand to make sure, though Amond, not surprisingly, keen to claim it for himself. 3-2 the final score in a cracking game. Only one defeat in 5 now for the visitors. United still in 9th place limbo.
The lads themselves, they knew at half-time it wasn't enough, you know, so we told them, give us the real stuff, come on, show us what you're made of. And I think you seen the reaction yourself. It was good stuff, it really was.
Great 3 points tonight, really, I'm pleased. We've had a long week training, and we were looking forward to the game tonight. We knew it'd be a tough game. You know, Darius has got Drogheda going now. They're playing with a lot of spirit and a lot of fire in their bellies. You know, and this is never an easy place to come. I think we'll look back on this as a very important 3 points. I'm delighted.
Yeah, good win. It's been a difficult few weeks for Dundalk fans, but they can take heart with the return to training of Liam Byrne. So the big defender still not fit enough to face his old side. Damien O'Mara reports.
Rovers went all out for the win from early on Saturday night. Padraig Hammond and Joseph Endo working a move down the right before Gary McCabe forced this near post save from Cherry. Alan Keane turned provider within a minute. His cross from the right met by John Russell, who should have made more of this effort. Ian Foster watched on as Dundalk struggled to make any chances of note. The best this Tom Miller header from Ross Gaynor's in swinging free kick. Padraig Hammond should have further cemented his place as the league's top scorer. Keane again the creator, but Hammond failing to reach the target. Sligo fans must have been thinking it was to be another frustrating night at the showgrounds as the second half got underway. And Doe the architect, McCabe the recipient, a sitter the end result. The home side kept persevering and Doe again working some space down the right side. McCabe supplying Amond, with the striker heading wide. The breakthrough came on 62 minutes and Doe again on hand, this time taking advantage of Patswell's error. McCabe peeling into space and finding the bottom of Sherry's goal. The former Bray man should have made it 2 15 minutes later, and Doe's long ball met by Matthew Blinkhorn. McCabe showing composure to cut inside, his left-footed shot far too high. Dundalk new boy Matthew Tipton tried to level the game late on. His injury time effort comfortable enough though for a fellow debutant John Gibson. And so 3 points for Sligo, showing the form expected of them early in the season, and things starting to fall nicely for manager Paul Cook.
Do you know, we're trying our best to put a team together to play good football and be competitive. August is going to be a massive month for us, like it is for a lot of clubs. We've got some great games that we're looking forward to. Do you know, and with these players in the squad, what we will be competitive, that's for sure.
Well, that's just a lot we're having at the moment, but we won't feel sorry for ourselves. We'll have an opportunity to actually coach this week. It's been a while since we've been able to do that. It's just been a game and then recovery and then a next game. So, you know, we'll prepare properly for UCD next Friday.
Former St Pat's man Gary Dempsey was making his debut for Bray, while Sligo welcomed back Ronald Boko for his second spell at the club. Rounding up the action is Eamon Donoghue.
It didn't take Sligo long to make an impact in this one. Gary McCabe is an ex-Seagull who flew the nest in pre-season. He crossed, and Padraig Hammond is the country's top scorer for a reason. He made it 1-0 after 10 minutes. And he could have grabbed his 17th of the campaign moments later after being put through by Conor O'Grady, but he dragged a shot wide, much to Matt Gregg's relief. The former Shamrock Rovers striker would prove there's more to his game than just finding the net. He led Bray's defence merry dance. Gary Dempsey's clearance falling as far as Joseph Endo. Matt Gregg with the telling save. But Bray went into this one with a degree of confidence following last week's win over Drogheda. John Mulroy was on target then, and he fancied another, but to no avail. Wanderers have yet to win at home this season and were handed a chance to try and correct that when Richie Ryan went in hard on Mulroy. Red card according to Anthony Buttimer. Both managers later claimed it was a harsh decision, but the player can have few complaints. Sligo gifted Bray an equaliser after the restart. Another ex-Wanderer, Derek Foran's back pass should have been routine, but John Gibson got his lines all wrong. Jay Kelly profiting, 1-1. Paul Cook introduced Bocco and Matthew Blinkhorn, and the pair were both involved as Sligo looked for another. Greg stood tall, though his defence couldn't clear the danger. Bocco eventually smashing the bar. But that lead goal was only minutes away in Doe's delivery, and Blinkhorn got his first since May the 8th. Dempsey was involved in Bray's only real chance after that. Teeing up Jake Kelly, but Gibson wasn't sufficiently tested. And Bocco would get the goal to cap his comeback. Sean Houston with some kamikaze defending. Sligo fans rejoicing the return of the King. 3-1 in the end, and 3 straight wins for Rovers. They've crept to 4th. Ray still live in hope.
There's still a lot of points to play for, and I'd be confident that once we can get our strongest 11 on the pitch, that we can pick up points and we can get ourselves out of the trouble we're in.
And Richie Ryan's got no nastiness in his body. He's not like that. You know, he's made an attempt to play a ball, and I think referees have got to have a little bit of common sense. Do you know, they got to, you know, but that's by the by, I suppose, but it's not a good decision.
Now Paul Cook's side are on a rich vein of form. They were hoping to make it 6 wins from 7 games in the league. The Students slipped into the bottom half of the table. Joanne Cantwell has this report.
4 wins from their previous 5 games, and Sligo Rovers always look good to make that 5 from 6, despite the best efforts of Gerard Barron. The keeper couldn't keep this form team out forever, but a battling UCD did keep Rovers at bay until 3 minutes before half-time. It was then the newly re-signed Ramon Bocco chipped in a delightful cross, and Conor O'Grady added a finish worthy of the assist. 1-0 and the home side looking good. And looking even better within 120 seconds. The direct route this time, the 1-2 between Padraig Amond and Gary McCabe, and Amond then drilling low into the bottom corner, because the side still struggling with injury and suspension. They didn't let up in the second half either, and Joseph Endo, with a nice touch from Gary McCabe, tried to create another classy goal for Bocco, but he just couldn't keep his shot down. Irla Davern might have been attempting a cross in the 57th minute, but it looked like he was aiming to catch out Barron. The home crowd and bench certainly appreciated the effort. At this stage, it was raining chances, all of them falling one way. McCabe was only inches away from adding a third for Rovers. And with Bocco causing all sorts of problems for UCD, O'Grady should really have made the midfielders' mayhem count. It was a tough night for the Students' defence, but they were blessed the scoreline wasn't growing even more rapidly as Rovers continued to create with Endo, Bocco and McCabe to the forefront of their attacks. Finally, they broke through for a third time with 15 minutes to go. UCD tried to hack the ball clear, but Matthew Blinkhorn eventually managed to send it goal-bound with the help of a rather generous deflection. And they only had to wait 4 minutes to make it 4-0. Derek Foran heading McCabe's corner past a diving Barron. Frustrating for UCD, but emphatic for Sligo, who simply steamrolled their opponents. In fact, the Students only just avoided the dreaded 5 thanks to some more heroics from the besieged Barron, who was given a thorough workout for the entire 90 minutes. The visitors might actually have snuck a late consolation when Evan McMillan burst through and picked out Kieran Kilduff. The striker was probably out of practice, having seen so little of the ball on the night. A resounding 4-0 win for Sligo Rovers, which could have been even greater. They storm into the top 3.
We're pushed up to third, as you say, in the league, and we've got a hunger to do better than that. That's not telling anyone we are going to do better. We might finish sixth, I don't know. I don't look into crystal balls, but we have a desire and a hunger to finish as high as possible.
They played very well tonight and we couldn't handle them. We nearly got to half-time without conceding, but we conceded the two right just before, which didn't help our cause. But credit to Paul, he has Sligo playing well, and we just weren't good enough tonight.
Paul, you were at that one on Sunday night. Are Sligo Rovers Barcelona in disguise?
Absolutely, absolutely. It was pure entertainment from Paul Cook's side. We're looking at the highlights there, and the amount of opportunities and chances in the football they played was absolutely brilliant. I totally enjoyed the game. But
informed striker Pádraig Amon started for Rovers despite being subject to a bid from Portuguese Premier Division side Paços Ferreira. Tony O'Donoghue now reports.
Two form teams in St Pat's and Sligo Rovers. The visitors lively early on in Inchicore. Richie Ryan's incisive run finding Gary McCabe. His shot beating the keeper, but scrambled away by a vigilant defence. Full marks awarded to Conor Kenna. Sligo kept up the pressure, a free kick and a free header as well. Owen Doyle with the effort. He probably had more time than he realised. If it looks like one-way traffic, it was. This move was started in his own half by Romo Bocco. Then Gary McCabe picked things up for a confident Bitter Red playing tonight in black. McCabe's pass found Owen Doyle, his cross met by the head of Bocco. The header well saved by Rodgers, who wasn't to know the linesman had a flag raised. Was this to be the classic game of two halves? Pat's definitely brighter after the break at the Stadium of Light. A quality pass from Gareth O'Connor. Ian Birmingham's effort parried by Kieran Kelly. Vinny Fardy's follow-up was high, wide and hopeless. Pats were improving though, much better in the second half, using the full width of Richmond Park. A decent quality cross as well. Derek Doyle with the knockdown. McAllister's shot deflected over for a corner. Committed defending from Sligo. Jim Loughlin gets a deserved pat on the back from a grateful Gavin Pearce. A long ball isn't always a bad ball. This one from Conor Kenna, won in the air by Fardy. His touch set up McAllister. The shot early. Kieran Kelly got a touch, but the post also denied the home side. Sligo had a chance or two themselves in the second period. Alan Keane's shot parried by Gary Rodgers. Defender Derek Pender just getting a vital touch before Owen Doyle. It was a night to celebrate defences. Brian Guy was kept quiet, but the American did set up a chance for Gareth O'Connor in added time. The shot, though, dragged wide. So, plenty of drama, plenty of chances, plenty of incidents. Sometimes a 0-0 can be more exciting than a 6-0. St Patrick's Athletic 0, Sligo Rovers 0. That's how it finished at Richmond Park.
I think that we were just a little bit nervous. I thought we showed Sligo kind of too much respect. But second half, we had a right go with them, and maybe unlucky not to win the game in the end. But overall, you know, it's always a fair result.
They're a good side this year under Pete and John. They're doing really, really well. It's a very tough place to come. You know, they had a lot of. You know, they did get back into the game second half, and you know, we're pleased with the points. It's been a long week this week after the Shamrock Rovers game on Tuesday night. You know, we're really pleased that we've got a point and we move on.
Near neighbours, familiar foe, but surprisingly this was the first time Finn Harps and Sligo Rovers had met in the FAI Cup. It started brightly enough, and Rovers came close to taking an early lead. Richie Ryan's shot just shaving the post. Sligo didn't have to wait too long for their next significant chance. It came with the award of an 11th minute penalty. Packy Maley adjudged to have fouled Matthew Blinkhorn in the area, Derek Tomney awarding the spot kick. Alan Keane confidently placed the ball past Gavin Cullen to put Sligo Rovers 1-0 up. Having failed to get a shot on target in the first half, Finn Harps came close to equalising on the hour. Kevin McHugh's long-range effort possibly deserved better. But that was about as close as they came, as Gavin Cullen continued to be the busier of the two keepers. It may have been their first meeting in the FAI Cup, but it will hardly be remembered as an epic. At Finn Park it finished Finn Harps 0, Sligo Rovers 1.
Paul Cook was short on options following the sale of Pádraig Amon to Paços Ferreira. No such problems for Rovers. Shamrock Gary Twigg starting after a two-match ban overturned. John Kenny.
Shamrock Rovers started Friday night's game 5 points clear, but they found the early going difficult as the visitors caused problems. Blinkhorn was brilliantly stopped by Danny Murphy as he pulled the trigger. A mistake by Gavin Pearce almost led to a goal at the other end. The ball ricocheted off the defender's shins. Neil Fenn crossed and Billy Dennehy headed just over. Sligo continued to press as Gary McCabe set up Owen Doyle, who wasted a great opportunity with a weak shot. McCabe himself had the next opportunity with a low free kick, which Alan Mannis did well to save after deflection, and it was 0-0 at half-time. Michael O'Neill admitted he had words in the dressing room at half-time. It had the desired effect as the home side emerged with much more purpose. Dennehy's shot flew just over. Sligo, though, continued to create chances. A quick Joseph Indo free kick picked out McCabe, who should have done a whole lot better. The open nature of the game continued as James Chambers saw his free kick pushed away by Sligo keeper Kieran Kelly. A long Dan Murray ball then picked out substitute Sean O'Connor on the right-hand side of the Sligo area. His cross found defender Craig Sives, who just couldn't direct the header on target. But the Hoops finally got a goal in 67 minutes as referee Alan Kelly deemed that Sives was fouled by Matthew Blinkhorn. Not that Paul Cook was impressed. And moments later, the home crowd of over 4,000 erupted as Billy Dennehy slammed in a belting free kick. His 5th league goal of the season. But Sligo remained a threat in the remaining minutes as Indo pulled the strings in midfield, picking out Owen Doyle, who was initially blocked. He then crossed to McCabe, but he too was denied. The home side went in search of a second, which would have killed off Sligo, and O'Connor saw his shot deflected and Kelly scrambling. Doe again was the instigator for a great ball through to John Russell, whose effort hit the side netting. A 1-0 win for Hoops, and a combination of the victory and results elsewhere sent them 7 points clear at the top.
That was a game probably last year that we wouldn't have maybe had the experience or the know-how to see it through, and tonight that was the pleasing aspect of it. But you know, we had to win a lot of games in the final sort of run-in last year, and we did that, but ultimately we just came up short. Now we're in a different position and we have to deal with that, and you know, the players are capable of that.
We thought if we could win here tonight, we still had an outside chance of winning the league. Unfortunately for us now, you know, that I would say that would be a mountain too much for us. You know, we've still got 2 cup competitions and we want to be in Europe next year, you know, so our league position has to improve.
Very good match, Owen.
In or shine, these are 2 teams who like to get the ball down and pass it. 2 teams committed to attacking football. From the showground, Sligo Rovers against Sporting Fingal.
2 blanks in their last 2 league outings was out of keeping for Sligo. They've had a 4, 5 and a 6 this season. The showgrounds is the place for goals. Not from this though. John Russell blocked by Maher, then Ryan straight at goalkeeper Quigley. The opener was a while in coming. 38 minutes had gone. The header by Jim Loughlin may not have made it, but the danger remained clear and present. Boko for Ndo, and the perfect cross coming up. One that set up Gavin Pearce to score his first since high summer. They've done a lot of celebrating supporting the Bit of Red. Goal number 44 of this campaign. Quick thinking on the part of Danny Ventry was the key that unlocked Sporting for Sligo's second. This came right on half-time. Ventry in here to send it forward, then Blinkhorn through the eye of a needle for a classy finish from Boko. And there they go again. Rovers by now the league's leading scorers. Liam Buckley can't have been pleased. His half-time words had the desired effect in that Sporting did play further up the pitch. That was Ronan Finn with their best chance. But they were struggling for a foothold, and Sligo were hungry for more. The excellent Davran for Boko, and a cross that gave John Russell a great opportunity to extend the Rovers' lead. He didn't, but not much later Boko did. And Doe's corner met by Blinkhorn without the desired effect, but a cucumber-cool finish for the Benin international made it 3. Another knees up in the showground stands. On the pitch, a variation on the theme, in celebration of Boko's first league goals in Sligo in almost 2 years. Fingal could have done with 1. Finn involved in setting up Alan Kirby. Kieran Kelly kept it out. And wouldn't you know, Rovers got another. The combination was Alan Keane and then 2 Sligo substitutes. Gary McCabe with the cross, and it was dispatched by Owen Doyle. Sligo would end the night the Premier Division's top scorers, but it was Sporting Fingal who turned it into the goal fest of the season. The veteran Glenn Crowe involved at the outset, and there again to assist O'Neill. Ronan Finn denied again, but Gary O'Neill in the right place to ignite the touch paper of a revival with a little over 10 minutes to go. And there was more. Crowe couldn't make his header count, but Kenny Brown got that scoring feeling for the second time in 3 weeks, and the deficit was halved. Amazing what a couple of goals will do. Sligo were suddenly rattled. Ollie Cahill crafted this opening. Lorcan Fitzgerald fired just too high. Still, 4-2 to Sligo. And now, 4 additional minutes. Plenty of time to dream the impossible dream. Maybe that's what Kenny Brown was doing. A second for Owen Doyle here would have brought the nightmare right back. But it was still Fingal's to chase, and chase it they did. Kenny Brown causing havoc, Sean Williams reducing the deficit to 1. They'd left it very late, and the clock would eventually beat them. It was the Sligo fans who left happy. Sligo Rovers 4, Sporting Fingal 3. The Electricity League's highest scoring game of the season so far, and the first time in almost 2 years that a Premier Division game has provided 7 goals. The Sligo Showgrounds, which hosted last season's highest scoring game, has done it again.
Dragged ourselves back into the game, but ultimately we can't afford to have a first half like we had today. We just played poorly. We never held onto the ball well enough. We didn't create any chances of note, which we need to step up from now at the end of the season.
You know, you've got to say fair play to Sporting Fingal for keeping going. You know, but it was a game we should have seen out. And to be fair, on the flip side of that, I think before the game, we wanted to win the game. It was a very important fixture to win. And like I just said to them, we've done that. And I think sometimes at this stage of the season, a lot of people have said it's a results business. And that was the correct result for us tonight.
Well, they got there in the end. Too many cooks can sometimes spoil the broth, but would Sligo and Monaghan provide a feast of football? Eamon Donoghue reports.
To call this a dress rehearsal for the League Cup finalists is missing the importance of the fixture, as two sides with good cup pedigrees clashed. Sligo the first to threaten through Ramal Bocco. The home side were about to squeeze ahead after a tense opening. John Russell's cross handled in the area by Cahill O'Connor. Pádraig Sutton was fourth official in the Cluj versus Basel Champions League clash on Wednesday, and he awarded a penalty and a yellow card. Little argument, it was a clear handball. Alan Keane was spot on to make it 1-0. Rovers had it all their own way for most of this without creating too many clear-cut chances in the first half. Matthew Blinkhorn set up Owen Doyle. Was it a cross or was it a shot? Either way, Alan Byrne watched it trickle to safety. Sligo doubled their advantage 2 minutes after the restart. Aidan Collins getting it all wrong with the clearance. For Joseph Ndo fed Bocco. The Benin international scored twice last season. He's already doubled that tally since returning to the club in July. United have plenty of Premier Division scalps on their CV under Mick Cook, so will be disappointed with their inability to dictate affairs. Richie Ryan sending one into the crisp Sligo night air. Monaghan introduced Carl Birmingham in a bid to get their attack firing, though Alan Byrne had their best chance. Firing narrowly wide, Kieran Kelly looked to have it covered. Alan Keane has developed a reputation as a goal-minded defender since joining the club from Galway at the start of 2009. Here he was denied by Gabriel Sava. Sava has been key to Monaghan's climb to top of the First Division this season. Dara Hanafi has been in good form of late with goals against Shells, Finn Harps and former club Longford, and he sent in a dangerous ball which Jim Loughlin made a mess of. Sean Brennan unable to capitalise. Sean is a brother of Bohemians Killian and Droghada's Ryan. On the stroke of full time, Sligo grabbed another. Shane Grimes made a mess of his header back, selling Sava and Brian Gartlin short. Mark McGoldrick, only a minute on the pitch, didn't need a second invitation. (3-0) the final score. Sligo look forward to a clash with Bohs tomorrow and a repeat of this fixture in the League Cup final on Saturday.
We've got 6 league games left. We've got a semi-final and a final left. Do you know, we've got to make sure that we're up for every game. Do you know, we're involved in every competition. Do you know, it'd be great to win something, but being so close is being so far. Do you know, we know we're not there yet by any sort.
Management and players will have learned from tonight. As I said, they're probably the best footballing thing in the league at the moment, and it was great to play against them. We try and play football ourselves. We gave away sloppy goals, and hopefully we can defend better next week.
Paul, you were at
Sligo hit the front in the Western Derby after just 8 minutes as Joseph Endo's corner was only half cleared and then crashed to the net by Richie Ryan as the Bitter Red took an early lead at Derryland. Gary McCabe's been in good form for Sligo in recent weeks, and his assist set up John Russell for Rovers' second on 36 minutes. Just 2 minutes later, however, Galway were back in the game as Gary Curran brought Sean Connor's side back into contention as his shot squeezed over the line via the back post. Galway got the point their play deserved on 63 minutes as Republic of Ireland under-21 international Carl Shepherd guided home Stephen O'Donnell's free kick.
A Rovers return for Ralph Cataro, and he was involved in Bo's opening chance, laying one off for Killian Brennan. But Kieran Kelly was having none of it. Suggestions that Rovers may not be operating at 100% in the week of a League Cup final proved way off the mark as they searched for a breakthrough, Matthew Blinkhorn causing a nervous moment for Chris O'Connor. However, the visitors drew first blood. Mark Quigley scored the winner here in May and was on target again, though Kelly should have done better, you feel. But their momentum was cut short 2 minutes later as they were reduced to 10 men. Brennan and Alan Keane tangled, quite literally, but the Bows players' bid to come unstuck upset sections of the home support and the squad. Seemed like little intent, leaving questions over Keane's reaction. Brennan looked amused as Tom Connolly flashed the red. Sligo deservedly drew level after the break. John Russell breaking through. Neat finish. The ex-Galway playmaker has been in terrific form in recent weeks. That is second in successive league games. Everything good about Rovers' attacks stemmed from the Dillon and Bocco combination down the left-hand side. Then in international Bocco crossed. Alan Keane should have buried that header. However, the score remained a 1-1. Fenlon could smile, but he knows this was a blow to their title push, and so did they.
The crowd turned out at the showgrounds with both clubs desperate to put some silverware in the trophy cabinet. Commentary on this one comes from Stephen Alkin.
It's the battle of the cooks. Paul for Sligo, Mick for Monaghan United. Quiet enough opening. Alan Keane getting forward for the first time today. No challenge from Shane Grimes. Matthew Blinkhorn. Oh, he's there! It's a great goal by Blinkhorn! 14 minutes gone and Sligo get in front. Jubilation for the home fans. That was a really well taken goal. After Grimes didn't get the challenge in. Lovely ball by Keane, and that's a smart turn and a super finish by Matthew Blinkhorn. Goal worthy of a cup final. Here comes Sligo Rovers with John Russell this time. Oh, nice little feint. Decent effort, good save. Excellent save by Gabriel Sava. Lovely turn of feet here by Russell, and a smart left foot shot. Wonderful goalkeeping, keeping Monaghan United in the game. Keane getting forward at the start of this second half. And here's Blinkhorn! Oh, another good stop. Sava did well, closed down the angles smartly. 2-0 there, and you really would have feared for Monaghan. Sligo Rovers, the more assured side, as you would expect, considering their form in the Premier Division against the side currently in second place in Division 1. Endo with the corner. Oh, smart volley. That was Gavin Pearce who came up from the back. Decent effort. Just over. Now a chance for Cathal O'Connor to get it forward. Paul Cook knows that it's a slender advantage in a cup final. Dangerous throw in, put behind by Jim Loughlin for the corner. Clancy takes it. Gartland's header off the line. It was Owen Doyle who saved Sligo there. Not too much seen from Monaghan in an attacking sense, but you only need one goal to get back into it. Here's Keane. He's been brilliant going forward. Russell stopped again and wide. Oh, that would have been the clincher. John Russell with the opportunity to put his side beyond reach. In fact, it came off Byrne, who saved it on the line. We're into stoppage time. The free kick given away by Richie Ryan, who's been one of Sligo's best players this season. And in it goes, the last chance for Monaghan United. Kieran Kelly's punch. The final whistle goes. It's a famous victory for Paul Cook's Sligo Rovers. Their first trophy in 12 years. Greeted to the echo here in the showgrounds. What a great reward for some magnificent football they've produced this season. And it's Conor O'Grady who lifts the EA Sports Cup.
It's a great night for Sligo and for myself. So the players worked so hard, and after the disappointment of the last cup final, to bounce back in the next one speaks volumes for the players. I can't praise them enough. It's their night and they deserve all the plaudits they get.
Congratulations. Paul Cook Sligo were back in league business after lifting the EA Sports Cup the previous week. Bobby Brown in charge at Drogheda for the first time. Darren Maloney has this report.
The League Cup winners had the chance to go third with a win over Drogheda, and they had the bottom team in the division on the back foot early on. Joseph and Doe had a second chance from the corner, but Matthew Blinkhorn was well off target with his header. And Doe was at the heart of most of the early Sligo pressure, and he set John Russell free. His centre was intended for Blinkhorn, but the Sligo striker was tripped by United captain Alan McNally. Referee Damien Hancock had no hesitation in pointing to the spot. Alan Keane stepped up to take the penalty, and he sent Robert Duggan the wrong way for the lead for Rovers after 26 minutes. Blinkhorn was causing havoc in the visiting defence. Irla Davern put Bocco in, but Blinkhorn's header flashed wide. Drogheda's best opportunity of the first half came towards the break when Darren Meenan's cross caused panic. It eventually fell to John Flood, but his strike was bravely blocked by Jim Loughlin. Sligo set about increasing their lead early in the second half. Some lovely skill from Blinkhorn put Gary McCabe away. His cross was missed by Robert Duggan, but somehow John Russell managed to scoop the ball over the bar with the goal at his mercy. It was a miss they were to regret, as Drogheda got back on terms on the hour mark. Eric McGill's cross sailed over the head of the Rovers keeper John Gibson and into the back of the net. McGill hardly meant it, but it was a goal out of nothing, and it gave Bobby Brown's team the chance of taking something out of the game. Sligo were shocked into life again. Ryan Brennan's tackle sent the ball the wrong way and to Joseph and Doe, who put Gary McCabe in, but his shot went the wrong side of the post. Sligo and McCabe left needing inspiration from somewhere. They got it 8 minutes from time, and Doe's free kick was only half cleared, and the finish coming up from McCabe was breathtaking. He was booked for his goal celebration, but it was such a special strike. Who'd blame him for taking his shirt off? Certainly Paul Cook didn't mind. So, Sligo Rovers move up to third in the table, while Drogheda United, with games running out, are edging ever closer to the relegation trapdoor. At the showgrounds, it ended Sligo Rovers 2, Drogheda United 1.
Thought we played very well second half, I really did. You know, fair play to Drogheda, they come and they had a good goal. You know, but the second half, they've had the one attempt on goal, which from our point of view looked like a bit of a missed kick by the lad that's looped in. You know, we've had some great attempts. John Russell's missed a fantastic chance. Gary's missed a great chance when they cleared in. And I thought we showed remarkable patience.
You know, they're a good bunch of lads and they're working hard in training, and, you know, we've 4 games left, 12 points to play for, and where there's life, there's hope, and we'll be getting them up for the game on Tuesday against St Patrick's. So they should take a lot of confidence from this performance.
So here's how the Premier Division received a boost before the game, with the news that Ross Gaynor and Daniel Kearns had signed new 1-year contracts at the club. Eamon Donoghue was at Oriel Park for M&S.
4 wins from 5 had made Dundalk suddenly upwardly mobile again, and Tom Miller looked to give them an early lead, but he didn't look hard enough. Ian Foster couldn't believe his eyes. Matthew Blinkhorn's vision was 20/20 less than 3 minutes later when he struck for the opener. Blinkhorn's return from injury has boosted Rovers' season. That was his 3rd in 4 games. The last time Gary McCabe played here, he was sent off, but on Saturday afternoon he was in altogether more focused mood, drawing a foul from Wayne Hatswell that earned the defender a yellow card. Dundalk's previous game, a win over Galway, so the Tom Miller long throw-in utilised to good effect and it unlocked Sligo's defence, allowing Ross Gaynor to celebrate his new deal with the equaliser. That brought a reaction from the visitors. Gavin Pearce should have scored, but somehow missed the target. It didn't look any better through their lenses. Richie Ryan has grabbed some spectacular goals this season, but Peter Cherry has also made some spectacular saves, so it remained 1-1. But that was about to change, and McCabe was going to play his part, nipping past Hatswell and hitting the deck in the process. Deemed a second yellow by Connolly, and Hatswell was off. Much to Foster's bemusement, a harsh booking perhaps. Dundalk's misery compounded when Ryan showed Peter Cherry who was boss this time to make it 2-1 at the break. Within 10 minutes of the restart, Ross Gaynor equalised from a similar position. Perhaps John Gibson could have done better, not that they cared however. Now what's that old expression about teams being vulnerable just after scoring? Dundalk were about to learn it within 2 minutes, and again Foster felt hard done by. Gary McCabe going down under Gary Breen's challenge. Tom Connolly awarded a penalty. Breen appeared to get something on the ball, but not enough purchase for the referee's liking. That's 4 successful penalties in his last 5 matches for Alan Keane. But Gaynor was still a threat. At the other end, ghosting past Keane. It took some heroic defending by Gavin Pearce to prevent Dundalk from snatching another equaliser. Paul Cook introduced Conor O'Grady and pushed Joseph Ndo further forward. He found plenty of space in front of the back 4, and what he didn't find was presented to him. Gaynor and Miller getting it all wrong, and Ndo made it 4-2. Well worth the journey east for the loyal Sligo fans. 4-2 the final score. Sligo move ahead of Pats into third, but afterwards Foster had plenty to say about the game's big turning point.
I think it's an awful decision. 39 minutes into the game, my left back's had 2 tackles. The first one's a foul and it's a yellow card, the second one's not a foul, but even if it is, it's not a yellow card. I'd like to think that in 40 minutes you're allowed 2 tackles.
You know, going to Daily Mount is never an easy trip. We're a good side now. You know, we've got a lot of confidence, we're on a great run, we pass the ball and we play, and as Pat will say to you and probably will up to the game, we'll actually go and try and win the game. And I think that's a credit to my club and my players that we'll actually go to Bohemians and try and win the game.
As the Cup Nippos went into the game with the League and Cup double very much in mind, Sligo hoping to get back to the final after suffering defeat to Sporting in last year's decider. Pat Morley and George Hamilton in the commentary box.
Blinkhorn, lovely touch, and swept wide towards Bocco, and Bocco's on the ball here, and Bocco has put it over the bar. Great ball here, you see the touch, great little thing over the far side. Bocco, lovely first touch, taking inside pole, tries to dink it over the keeper, just a bit too much juice on it over the top of the bar. Great chance, great football by Sligo Rovers, and should be 1-up. Oh, beautiful by Ndo. Blinkhorn, Bocco. From Bocco again, and Bocco's shot is saved. Brilliant football by Sligo. We really are asking all the questions. Beautiful football again, really intricate. Probably on his weaker side this time, Bocco. Hit the target this time though. Keegan. Cretaro turning Pearce. Cretaro getting the boost of the Sligo fans. Cretaro once again, and his shot. Oh, good stuff. Good effort. On target. Safe hands from Kieran Kelly. Keane. Bocco, Russell, and McCabe against Lopez, and McCabe with a shot, and parried, and Blinkhorn and parried again. 2 brilliant saves by Barry Murphy. Different class is all you can say about that. First is a great save, second is just totally reaction. Great save, up he gets. They work in training week in, week out, and that is 2 brilliant saves. Blinkhorn in behind here. Stroke too strong for Lopez. Blinkhorn still. And Blinkhorn and all the way across, and it wouldn't come for Bocco, and it's put behind by McGlynn.
Ball down the wing, the young lad has been caught up, just a lack of experience there. Blinkhorn has done really, really well, looked up, skinned them again, played a little ball across the box. Garrett McGlynn, brilliant defending.
Wonderful skill by Russell, but a corner is the outcome of Powell. It'll be Ryan this time, and the header went in from the near post by Bocco. It's another corner. It's just over a quarter of an hour to go at Dalymount. If it isn't decided by 90 minutes, they'll be in Sligo to play again on Monday night. But there's Pearce, and maybe they won't have to. And Gavin Pearce gets the congratulations.
Fabulous ball in by, great ball in by Ryan. There's the touch, and Pearce. It's Pearce, a great header. Great, Loughlin's trying to claim that. The ball comes in again. Yes, Gavin Pearce. Fantastic goal.
Pearce puts the ball back into the corner for another goal kick to Bohemians. And Alan Kelly blows the whistle. And it'll be a town against country final. The FAI Ford Cup, 4 weeks on Sunday at the Aviva Stadium. Final score in the first of the FAI Ford Cup semi-finals. Bohemians 0, Sligo Rovers 1.
Just pleased to score anyway. You know what I'm like on the sidelines. I'm not the sanest person in the world, you know, but I would be a committed person. Do you know, and tonight it's, you know, what a night for Sligo, what a night for the people of Sligo. You've seen them travel here tonight. We'll now go to the Aviva Stadium. We took 8,000 to Tala last year. We're going to play St Patrick's or Shamrock Rovers, two great clubs steeped with tradition, and we're going to have a massive spectacle, and let's hope it's a good game for the league.
They worked their socks off, they kept the ball well, put us under a lot of pressure. Barry made some great saves. He's probably the only one that can come out and hold his hands up today and said he's had a good game. We didn't perform, simple as that.
I'm sure you'll watch the other semi-final very carefully.
Tony,
now.
I'll be at Goodison watching me beloved Liverpool beat Everton. That's where I'll be. I know Shamrock Rovers, Michael's teams and Pete's teams, we know each other inside out. Liverpool need a manager at the minute. I'm trying my best. The best of luck, lads.
Well done.
Well, the way his team are playing, they could do with them, I think, Dave. It was interesting at Dalymount the other night. The Bohemian supporters applauded Sligo as they came off the field, and I think that was a recognition that Sligo were just too good on the night.
Yeah, I must say, I think, you know, Paul Cook there, I think when you're in the last four and you get drawn away to the league champions for the last 2 years, he must have been saying, you know, what's all this about? But you have to say, you know, I was watching that and I sat at home and I watched it and it was thoroughly enjoyable. I think it's probably one of the best performances I've seen from an away team, especially going away from home. And when you go away from home, the cup, you're all the same, we have a second chance, let's get a draw. But from the off, they went and they just controlled the whole game, from first kick-off to the end of the game. And you have to give plaudits really to the manager, because I've said it before, the players he's brought in, there's no hard man, you know, there's no midfield enforcer in the middle of the park. He's gone for Ando, McCabe, you know, all kind of Bocco players, technical players. And like, I have to say, if you go away to the Bohemians, and I think Pat Fenton said it there now, he said, you know, they kept the ball well. Most teams, if they go into Dalymount, or they go away to the Bows or any of the big teams, that they probably wouldn't get that much of a ball. You know, you're playing in Dalymount, you're probably kicking it away, trying to get your defences set up. But they held the ball, they controlled the ball, and they really controlled the game.
The other thing, Sean, men went into the game in third place and in pole position for that European spot. The students guaranteed another season in the top flight. Joanne Cantwell reports.
With 3 wins over UCD already this season and fresh from that cup win over Bohemians, Sligo Rovers were always favourites for victory here. John Russell signalled their intent early on. UCD didn't have a bad opening half, but chances were scarce. Robbie Creevy threaded through for Paul O'Connor, but Kieran Kelly was out quickly. All the real action happened in the second half, and it all started just seconds into it. Ramo Bucco's cross could hardly have been more spot on, and Matthew Blinkhorn's header wasn't bad either. 1-0 with the second half barely underway. It was underway about 2 minutes when that became 2-0. Bocco flew in from the right, his pace allowing Joseph Endo time to pass just right. The classy finish seemed appropriate. UCD had their chances to get back in this game. David McMillan's free kick hit the woodwork. And when Greg Bulger's cross was flicked on to Kieran Kilduff, Kelly was at full stretch to keep him out. An outstanding save, which was followed by a clanger. 9 minutes left when Kelly thought he had more time than he actually had, and Kilduff did what all good strikers do, only this time it paid off. 2-1 and the chance of a comeback on the horizon. They certainly packed the attack as Sligo did likewise with their defence, but the ball nearly found its way through anyway as Kelly's nerves looked frayed. Martin Russell thought UCD might have had a penalty here, claiming Derek Foran had pushed Creevy. But Sligo Rovers saw it the 2-1 win and now know that victory over St Pat's this week would guarantee them that European spot.
We've competed with Sligo for large parts of the game, but we've had a mad minute in the start of the second half that we couldn't claw back from. But overall, the effort has been good tonight, and our play has been decent tonight. But we still have to learn that, we've got to not make mistakes at critical times and give ourselves too much to do.
I thought we started the second half fantastically well. I thought we scored 2 quality goals. We then started to control the game, in my opinion, and we've given away a very sloppy goal. A very poor goal that gave UCD a leg up for the last 5 or 10 minutes. And he put us under a little bit of pressure, but we've seen it out well.
For me, Sligo Rovers are the best footballing side I've seen in the league in many years. They're a pleasure to watch. They play the game the right way. They go to win every game.
Showgrounds now, and Sligo Rovers knew that a win at home to St Pat's would be enough to secure a place in next season's Europa League. Pats also had a slim chance of reaching Europe too. Darren Frehel watched this one.
A win for Sligo would seal their passage to Europe, and they started with real intent. In Doe played in Matthew Blinkhord. He squared to Gary McCabe but was denied by Derek Pender. It was a really good start by the Sligo men, and Pats found themselves on the back foot in the opening exchanges. Davran's cross here was punched away by the under pressure Gary Rogers. A weak clearance though fell to John Russell, but his shot was easily held by the Pats keeper. The visitors showed a little more adventure in the second half, and Derek Doyle almost gave them the lead, but Kieran Kelly denied them with a wonderful save. But it was Sligo who created the best of the chances. Gary McCabe raced clear of his marker down the left. He teed up in Doe, but his shot from distance went just over. And Doe's corner picked out Jim Loughlin, but his header went just wide of the target. The home side continued to push for the opening goal. Owen Doyle headed on to Russell, but Derek Doyle stayed on his feet to narrow the angle, and Rogers made the save. Pats did have one more chance to snatch the win. Gareth O'Connor's free, deflected away from danger. Time was running out for Paul Cook's men, but then the game-changing moment, deep in injury time, Gary McCabe taken down by Doyle inside the penalty area. The referee didn't hesitate in pointing to the spot. Clumsy challenge here by the Pats man, and it gave the opportunity to Alan Keane. He took responsibility and drilled it in. His 5th successful kick in his last 6 league and cup games. The final whistle moments later confirmed Sligo's place in Europe and a 3rd place finish, their best league finish in 15 years.
For us to win the League Cup, to finish 3rd in the league, it's a magnificent achievement by everyone at the club. We've got a cup final now with the league champions in the Aviva Stadium, and we look forward to it. We hope it's a great spectacle for Irish football.
It's a bit disappointing that they end up with some kind of reward for it. But look, from where we were this time last year, there's an improvement, and we probably are where we deserve to be in the league. The league table doesn't lie, and 5th, maybe 4th, 5th is about right,
So there's the top half of the table. Confirmation that Sligo finished 3rd, a point ahead of Sporting, and St Pat's finished 5th. As Pete Mahon was saying, the table doesn't lie. Damien Richardson